Hey everybody, Shoebox Legends here. Thanks for joining me today for what's going to be just a good old-fashioned baseball card rummage. Feel like for whatever reason a lot of my videos have been hockey-based lately, which is fine. I love hockey. It's right up there with baseball in terms of my enjoyment of the hobby, and of course we're right in the middle of the early stages of the NHL season here. So it's just an awesome time to be collecting hockey, but I love baseball cards as well. And as the World Series winds down here, figured we'll do just an all baseball card rummage. So I grabbed a stack of, maybe 30 or so baseball cards that I've never shown on the channel before. Most of these are vintage baseball, but it will stray into a little bit of modern here and there, and we'll kind of just go through these section by section. And it looks like the first few off the top here are towards my 1955 Topps set build. So I am working on a 55 Topps release. It seems kind of like sneakily easy, being only just over 200 cards deep as far as the checklist goes, but it's, as I found out, it's actually sneaky tough because the high numbers are a little bit rough. And of course you have the Koufax and Clemente rookies, etc. But here are some cheap commons: Dave Jolly, Camilo Pascual that I picked up on ComC. I would say probably all of these originated from ComC, kind of vacuum up cheap, cards that look nice. They're not high grade cards, but they present very well. And if I can find them for like $1 or $1.50 and I don't have them for my set, I will pick them up. Here's a Harry Brecheen and then Dick Hall for the Pirates. So just a 5 spot there of 55 cards towards that set build. Just tuck these away in the back here. Beautiful cards. I just love that release. Then I've got a modern one here. I guess, I would consider this modern. It's from the mid-90s. Pedro Martinez. This is the second ever Topps Finest set from 1994. And this is, of course, as you can tell with the light dancing on it here, the refractor version of the Pedro from that set from his days with the Montreal Expos. Got this many years back for less than $10. I think that's a real steal when you consider his career in the majors and where he ranks among the greats, and that kind of run of domination that he had around the turn of the century. That was historic as far as just dominating pitching goes. And I believe there to be far less than 500 of these. I don't know if it's known for certain what the print run is on Finest Refractors for 1994, but whatever the case is, I'm happy to have that Pedro. It's a beautiful looking card there. Back to vintage here. Got a little run of these Kellogg's 3D cards, and I reference these all the time on the channel because I love lenticular or 3D cards. Topps puts out a on-demand online set in recent years that kind of is the same deal or is based on very similar technology. I think Kellogg's, as far as I know, were one of the first companies to do this, going all the way back to like late 60s, early 70s. The first 3 that I have here in this Kellogg stack are from the, I think, 1970. Yeah, 1970 release. Got Ray Culp, Reggie Smith, and Rico Petrocelli, and these are just gorgeous looking cards. This is probably my favorite of all the different designs that we got from Kellogg's over the years. I think they started off strong, and these look great. You can kind of tell, I think the Ray Culp probably does the best job of this trio of kind of seeing the 3D effect with Yankee Stadium in the background there. But these are just really, really neat. I think this might be a complete Red Sox team set. Don't quote me on that, but close to it anyway. Then here's some from, I think, 72. Sonny Siebert and Reggie Smith again. These don't quite have the same quality 3D effect in my mind, but cool cards there. And then in 73, these are actually not 3D at all. You can tell this is just a plain old trading card. It's still a beautiful card. Carlton Fisk has a lot of gorgeous cardboard out there, but kind of a bummer that it was not a lenticular 3D release that year. Then I've got a couple of Hall of Famers here from like the mid to late 70s. Orlando Cepeda and Fergie Jenkins, players who are probably better known with other clubs, but did spend some time with Boston as they were winding down their pretty legendary careers. So obviously that whole run of Kellogg's cards there just is pretty much in the collection because of the time when I used to be a Red Sox team collector. for a period of a few years there. But neat to have those. Oh, they're not cooperating, so we'll lay those there. Neat to have those, and I do enjoy that kind of technology. It seems like they were kind of a little bit ahead of their time for cards that were coming out, almost 50 years ago now, or maybe over 50 years ago now, that they really kind of hold up to this day. Then I've got a couple other 70s cards here before we move out of the decade. Just a random 71 red Shane-Deinst who is in the box for some reason. Probably got this in like a dollar bin back in the day or something like that at a local hobby shop. Tend to pick up Hall of Famers when I see them cheap like that. Here's one from 72 Topps. I think this is cool. It just shows the Cy Young Award. So I'm a sucker. I've done a few episodes on the hockey side of the house about like the Stanley Cup and other trophy cards. And I really just find awards and trophies to be kind of interesting subject matter for vintage cards especially. And so have that Cy Young Award courtesy of 72 Topps. And then from 75 Topps Mini, here's another Carlton Fisk. This is obviously a spring training shot. I always like this one where you have the, looks like a hotel or condominiums in the background there and some palm trees. This one's a little OC for me. I'd probably try to find a better copy centered-wise if I was buying this today, but that's the one I have in the collection. Here's some more discount vintage that I had picked up back in the day. 61 Don Zimmer. Just love the shot here of him with the mouthful of chaw. And of course, he was just a really colorful baseball lifer. So nice 61 Topps card there. And then I have a few from 58 Topps, just 3 of them here. Got Milt Graf for the Kansas City A's. Alex Grammas for the Cincinnati Redlegs, and I love that Mr. Redlegs logo on the 50s cards for the Reds. And Joey J, pitcher for the Milwaukee Braves. He looks very serious there. Great looking card. Love the solid color backgrounds on those. Have not prioritized 58 Topps as a set as far as the 50s go, but I do like them, and I'll pick them up if I can see them, at what I think is a deal or just really cheap coin. How about 3 Ted Williams cards next? I remember picking these up from like a 3 for $15 bin at a card show probably more than 10 years ago. This is the release that was completely based on Ted, both his playing career and his personal life. I tend to gravitate towards the cards that feature him playing baseball. So here's one for his 1940 season. Nice action shot of him sliding into second base, presumably, with the ball trailing behind him. Here's a look at the back. Of course, nice big gum stain, or wax stain, I should say, on this one, which is why it was discounted, but I don't mind. It's a nice looking card. And then I have 2 vertical ones here that just pay tribute to specific game in one case, the one on the left, and then an injury that he suffered in spring training 1954 on the right. So I just like these because they're a cheap way to get Ted Williams cards from his playing era, the 1950s. Pretty hard to find a Ted Williams playing era card for $5, but that was the case with each of those. That was a few years back now. I don't know what they cost, but I still think relative to Topps releases or anything of that nature from his playing era, that's probably your cheapest bet. Here's one that's definitely going to be the least politically correct card in this entire video. This was picked up on ComC just because the subject matter I found almost unbelievable, but this is a minor league card for the Braves organization, the Richmond Braves, and it features their mascots, one of which is Seymour Baseball, and the other one is Chief Power Hitter. And I would imagine there's probably some folks that would object to the content on this one in the age that we're living in here, the modern age, but just an intriguing card. I don't really know how I feel about it, but it was like $1, and I just like things that are different or interesting, so decided to scoop that one up. Definitely don't mean any offense to anybody. And then I've got just 2 more baseball cards to go here. Here's a quick Jim Abbott, childhood idol of mine, and just a man that I don't think anybody could not admire. It's amazing what this guy overcame, and of course had a recent episode where I talked about my love for 1992 Ultra and the fact that they reused that design across multiple sports that year. So ran across that Jim Abbott and thought it was perfect to queue up for this. And then last but not least, I have a relic card. I do not show these often on the channel. I'm not huge into relics, but I found this one in the box, and it was from a box break that I participated in right when I first got back into the hobby. It was like the fall of 2007. And it was a box of like Ultimate Collection from Upper Deck, which was a higher end type Upper Deck release. I didn't really know what I was doing yet. I just rediscovered baseball cards after like a 10-year break, and things had really changed in that time. And so I thought, this was a cool thing to sign up for. And I actually did pretty well. I pulled this Papelbon numbered out of 50. And check this out. That is a game used patch, America's Pastime. I kind of like the foil work and the logo down here. You can see the serial numbering. Game used, and it's a nice thick 3-color patch of Jonathan Papelbon, who is a really exciting member of the team and a guy that I enjoyed watching do his thing out on the mound in relief. Here's a look at the back, and this does claim to be certified as having been used in an official MLB game, unlike many of the relics that you see nowadays. So that's card's coming up on, or is now 15 years old. So pretty old as far as relics go, and one that I've always hung on to, even though I'm not a big relic guy, just because he was a fun player, and I think it's an impressive looking patch. And it also reminds me of a time when I was kind of approaching the hobby a little bit differently and participating in, more high-end group breaks and things like that. So that's all I had in the stack for today. Looks like I got through that miraculously in about 11 minutes, which is not too bad for me. Certainly appreciate you stopping by to check all of these cards out. Hope you saw something that interested you. Just wanted to get back to baseball for an episode here and kind of anchor myself. So I'll be back in the very near future with some more sports card content as always. And until then, enjoy the hobby.